happening moments in current affairs.
So obviously, the big news right now has to be the appointment of the new Chief Justice.
Yeah,
Definitely an exciting one. So there's no ways we could start the show without having a look at what's going on there.
Yeah.
So Ramaphosa's appointment of Zondo, Raymond Zondo, shine Raymond Zondo, shine. Congratulations. He got the appointment of the new Chief Justice. It shows as a strategic smart at last. Okay, very interesting. A strategic move at last. Very interesting. So on Thursday, the presidency announced that Judge Raymond Zondo will be South Africa's next Chief Justice, with Judge Mandi Samaya his deputy. It is a decision that reveals the kind of independent strategic thinking that South Africa has seen far too little of from President Cyril Ramaphosa. That's quite interesting. So Judge Raymond Zondo, the current Deputy Chief Justice, will be South Africa's next Chief Justice from the 1st of April. In a statement announcing the appointment on Thursday, President Cyril Ramaphosa said he had every confidence that Justice Zondo will acquit himself with distinction in his role. To fill the vacancy left by Zondo as Deputy Chief Justice, Ramaphosa said he intends to nominate Judge Mandi Samaya in that position. The Constitution requires the President to consult the JSC and the leaders of the political parties represented in Parliament before making both appointments, but the ultimate choice rests with the president. So before the JSC interviewed the 4 Chief Justice candidates in February, the choice of Zondo to follow Mogoeng as the head of South African judiciary might have seemed like an uncontroversial choice. Zondo has been acting in the position for the last several months while Ramaphosa's decision was awaited. He is a widely trusted household name as a result of his chairing the State Capture Commission, and he takes the post seasoned by 25 years of experience on the bench.
That's a lot of experience.
A lot of
25
experience.
years.
So it only made sense, right, that Ramaphosa would then put his name forward, or rather choose him or appoint him to be the next Chief Justice. I don't know.
Look, ultimately, as much as the JSC makes recommendations,
Yes.
the sitting president appoints his Chief Justice, because this is somebody who you are going to entrust to uphold the Constitution, to uphold the law, and to make sure that the judiciary stays untouched in its and unblemished in its reputation as the ultimate keeper of the rule of law in a nation. So
Absolutely.
given that, I think they've developed a closer working relationship with Chief Justice, or the incoming Chief Justice Zondo, and it's somebody who also had spent his most of his time as Deputy Chief Justice,
Yes.
working on the State Capture Commission. So his argument was that he never got time to serve the nation because he was really busy with the State Capture Commission and never really got to fulfill the role that he had as Deputy Chief Justice. Therefore, it would be a natural progression then.
Absolutely.
And congratulations also to Justice Umandi Samaya, who was been nominated then for the Deputy Chief Justice. An indication that we are one step closer to having our very first female Chief Justice.
I was about to say, just looking at what happened with Raymond Zondo, surely maybe 2 years, 3 years time, we'll be seeing a little bit of woman.
It depends on how long the term of office will be for
Correct.
Justice Zondo, but whenever that will be, I think the natural progression then will see Justice Maya take her place at the head of the judiciary.
Absolutely. Very exciting. So Ramaphosa's decision also effectively defines the increasingly dysfunctional JSC, for whom this appointment amounts to more or less explicit smackdown. Indeed, if Judge Maya seeks to direct blame towards any quarter for losing out on the Chief Justice post, her anger should be targeted towards the JSC, which essentially scuppered her chances by running such a blatantly problematic interviews. Yeah, I had a lot of problems. There was lots of inconsistency, I believe. I mean, when you talk the candidates, one could easily argue that, I mean, the ones who were conducting the interviews, when we were interviewing Judge Mandi Samaya, there was a little, I don't know, I got the sense that We want her to get into power, but at the same time, I have this thing of we don't want to get her into power now only because she's a woman, but surely because based on her merit and her credibility.
Look, she is as qualified, if not more qualified, than any of the other candidates who she was up against. And I think it was more of a timing thing. I don't think the gender issue played much of a role.
You don't think so?
No, because any of the four of them were equally tasked, or equally up to the task. I think this time around, it was about President Ramaphosa also making sure that the internal things that are happening within the ruling party don't spill over into the judiciary. So in order for that to happen, it has to take a stern approach. And then when things have calmed down, to give a fair opportunity for somebody to walk into an office and do a clean job. That would be when Justice or Judge Mandi Samaya would be walking into the doors.
I must say, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
I think also let's give Justice Zondo an opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
We have known him from a state capture commission, which we have opinions about because of the things that have come out in the commission. But that was a commission. Let's see what his powers given to him as the Chief Justice will see happen with the judiciary. Istima said judiciary, which had been under attack, the likes of your Mamlindi Sisulu and those following that train of thought. We need to understand that everybody has a plan. And let's understand that these are very qualified people who are, for very various reasons, put into the places that they are. And their experience speaks for itself. And I'm sure even their strategies are going to unfold and give us an opportunity to see where they want to take us legally.
So let's give our new Chief Justice a chance.
Absolutely.
Because definitely he has a plan.
We know we have preferences when it comes to these things.
Rightfully
But once the election is over, the same as local government elections, let us stand behind the president or the leader who has been elected and rally behind that person as the person who the majority have chosen to take us forward.
Looking forward to it. So next on our stories, Ramaphosa calls Putin and offers to mediate, but there's scant hope of peaceful resolution. President Cyril Ramaphosa called Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday and said afterwards that South Africa had been approached by a third party to mediate a peaceful resolution to the war in Ukraine. South African officials have privately acknowledged that South Africa is very unlikely to be able to exert any influence in the conflict. Ramaphosa thanked Putin on Twitter for taking his call, so I could gain a better understanding of the situation that is unfolding between Russia and Ukraine. Ramaphosa seemed unable to call it a war. Very interesting. I outlined our position on the conflict that has unfolded, as well as our belief that the conflict should be resolved through mediation and negotiation between the parties, if need be, with the help of agencies that can bring a solution to the conflict. President Putin appreciated our balanced approach. We believe this position can enable both parties to subject the conflict of mediation and negotiation based on our relations with the Russian Federation. And as a member of BRICS, South Africa has been approached to play a mediation role. Ramaphosa did not say who approached South Africa to mediate. In Pretoria, had indicated before their telephonic conversation that Ramaphosa, like many other world leaders, was increasingly alarmed by the mounting civilian casualties as the Russian military bogs down and Moscow turns instead to intense bombardment of Ukraine cities. Thoughts on that? South African intervention. What are our thoughts, guys?
I'm not too excited about how involved South Africa really believes themselves to be.
Sure.
I'm very serious. Like it actually upsets me a little bit.
Okay.
It actually upsets me a little bit. how much sway we believe we have over a very serious, very volatile, and centuries-old conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. This is not something that came up because Vladimir Putin is in power.
Sure.
This is something that is about 800 or 900 years old.
Lots of history then.
And it's like a restoration of the original situation. It's tough because on one end, we enjoyed some support from the Russians at the time when we were going through our emancipation struggle and found a safe haven for many of our leaders in Russia. My uncle actually was one of them. And so there is that level of, we are colleagues in that sense.
Okay.
But we are definitely not equals. And we also don't have the kind of, let me call him and just tell him to calm down.
Yeah.
It's not one of those times.
I get you.
It's not one of those times where you can call
somebody.
Not even about Miekeni, but let the people who can actually influence him influence him.
And who can influence Vladimir Putin?
They are. Yeah. He's got his allies.
Sure.
He's got China. He's got North Korea.
True.
These are, and also these are nuclear military forces. People who can speak at his level. I'm like, dude, calm down, bruh. Oganye, don't do that. People who can say, look, our military is just as strong as yours.
Yeah.
So before we get involved in this seat, chap, don't you think, Mhlambi, shouldn't you calm down? Shouldn't you have a little bit of a ceasefire? Shouldn't you, but Tina, we can't even maintain our own air force, guys. No, seriously, we can't.
Let alone solve the problems of another nation.
Most of our air force fleet is grounded. And it's only a DC-3, which is, I think, an 81-year-old plane, which is patrolling our shores.
And that's pretty much it.
The new ones are all on the ground. Just to give you an idea, we've got submarines that we bought in that arms deal in 1999, of which I think only one of them is functional now. We've got serious military issues when it comes to the budgets allocated and also the corruption associated with when budgets are released. We've got our own problems. I don't see how going to tell one of the most powerful people in the world to chill is going to change the price of rice, Got
it. But I mean, it says here, but if Ramaphosa really did give Putin a lecture, this was certainly not apparent from the Kremlin's statement about the call, which said Ramaphosa had expressed support for Russia's political and diplomatic efforts. Very interesting. South African official sources, Daily Maverick, spoke to acknowledge that Putin would, in any case, have been very unlikely to pay attention to the call for peace from Ramaphosa. That's because they don't see Putin ending the war until he has gotten rid of Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky.
And, I think we'll talk about this later in the show.
Sure.
But has anybody who hasn't been living under a rock anyway cared to follow up on why Vladimir Putin took the action that he did? I hear a lot of people turning it on him. Well, but war is... Do you think somebody just wakes up and wages war?
No.
Wages war, like, civilian lives...
Yeah, full on.
Because there's consequences.
Yeah.
There are consequences to every action.
Yeah.
So whether he's wrong or right, there are still lives that are being lost. There are injuries. There's all kinds of things happening. There's damage to historical sites and buildings. There's a whole lot that you can't take back because you waged war and you sent planes and you sent people.
Yeah.
So we have to, especially as an outsider, sit and understand.
We have a responsibility.
We have a responsibility to find out both sides.
Yeah.
And not maybe watch one news outlet and say, yeah, but Putin is this, or
and
but Ukraine is this. Understand the situation, then make up your mind.
Yeah.
Then relate it to the conflict and then make up your mind.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Then also get updated on a daily basis and keep making up your mind.
Yes.
Allow yourself to be swayed.
Subject to change.
Yeah.
The more information you get, the subject.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't be closed off because
I like that.
Yeah. If you're closed off because you are anti-violence, we get that.
Yeah.
Nobody is saying go and bomb the Ukraine, even if
Sure.
even if Vladimir Putin is 100% correct.
Yeah.
Was violence the way to go and express it? Even if his ideology is 100%
Yeah.
correct, or they
Yeah.
offended him, they stepped on his toes, you know, they did whatever. Was this the way to go? Maybe not necessarily. Some may believe yes as a military force, others may believe no.
Yeah.
But you have a responsibility to make up your mind using only the facts.
Yeah.
I love that. You have a responsibility to make up your mind using only the facts. Lovely. Let's go for our last story for moments in current affairs. Lost profits. Rolling blackouts take a toll on small businesses. Eish.
Small businesses have really suffered, though.
Has been
When a COVID,
Yeah.
when a water shortage,
Yeah.
Eish.
when a load shedding.
every day.
How are people
And
surviving?
the looting that was taking place
Oh,
at some
man,
stage.
man,
It's a
listen.
pandemic.
Yeah,
It's a pandemic.
It was bad.
This week, Eskom first implemented stage 2 blackouts before it was suddenly escalated to stage 4 due to more breakdowns. The rolling power cuts may have relaxed on Friday morning, but the damage has been done to small businesses. The system recovered on Thursday, and overnight the power cuts dropped to stage 3 before it was relaxed to stage 2, 5 a.m. this morning. From barbers and hairdressers to takeaways and laundromats, small businesses are directly threatened by sudden and often escalating blackouts.
Yeah.
It's lunchtime, and a power cut means that fish and chips basket cannot turn on its fryers. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Every customer is saying, "This is cold. Please, people don't like cold stuff. They're coming from the fish and chips, but I don't have fish, only the fish, but it's cold," shop manager Rahman said. He decides to lock up 30 minutes later. "We've got nothing left inside, no fish, no chips, so what
Yeah.
are we going to do?" He needs to wait for the power to be restored, but by lunchtime, by the time that happens, lunchtime is over and his customers have moved on. How painful. How painful.
Yeah.
And the worst part is it's through no fault of his own as a shop owner.
He has
He woke
absolutely
up,
no
he
control.
opened the shop, he cleaned up, he made sure that his food is up to date, it's up to standard, it's healthy, it's well cooked, but you can't keep it warm.
You can't keep it warm.
You can't.
It's difficult. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. All right. I think that's it for now. 20 to 10. You are still live with Sibano Aya with our special guest, very special guest, Utru, on the other side in Moments of Truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's see what all
From the states of Africa, we've got you covered